Shalom Ubracha, peace and blessings. This week's Torah reading is Parshas VaYechi. VaYechi begins with the words, VaYechi Yaakov be'eretz Mitzrayim sheva esrei shana. And Yaakov lived in Egypt for 17 years. It seems somewhat significant that the Torah portion, which recounts the death of both Yaakov Avinu, Jacob our patriarch, and his son Yosef, is recounted in a Torah portion that is entitled VaYechi, and he lived. Perhaps there is a message embedded in this interesting selection of a title. This week's Torah reading begins with recounting the final chapter in Yaakov's life. Realizing that his death is drawing near, he calls upon Yosef and asks him to promise to bury Yaakov in the land of Israel. Yosef does, in fact, make that promise, and Yaakov decides to bless all of his children, beginning with his two grandsons, Ephraim and Menashe. The blessing that he offers them is familiar to us, inasmuch as it is the blessing that we use in blessing our children every Friday night. Let's fast forward to that verse. Vayivorchem bayom hahu lemar, and he blessed them on that day, saying, V'cha yivarech Yisrael lemar, with you the children of Israel will bless, saying, Yisimcha Elohim ke'Ephraim u'ke'Menashe. May God make you like Ephraim and Menashe. V'yosem es Ephraim lifnei Menashe. And he placed Ephraim before Menashe. So Rashi tells us, V'cha yivarech Yisrael, with you the children of Israel will be blessed. Habol levarach es banav, a person who wants to bless their children, yivarchem b'birchasam, will bless them with their blessing. Vayomer ish livno, and God will say, and a person will say to his children, Yisimcha Elohim ke'Ephraim u'ke'Menashe. May God make you like Ephraim and Menashe. So, question can be asked, why Ephraim and Menashe? As my father pointed out, there were other significant examples that Yaakov could have pointed to. Yaakov could have blessed his grandchildren by saying, may you be like Avraham Avinu. May you be like Abraham, our patriarch. And similarly, the corresponding blessing for young ladies is Yisimech Elohim Kisoref Garach V'Leah. May God make you like Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. So my father proposed the following answer to this question that shows a commonality between Ephraim and Menashe and Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, V'Leah. So Ephraim and Menashe were the children of Yosef, and they did not grow up in the home of the patriarchs, and the matriarchs. They grew up in Mitzrayim, in the land of Egypt, in a non-Jewish culture, in a foreign culture, and yet they retained their Jewish identity. Similarly, the Imaot, the matriarchs, did not grow up in the home of one of the patriarchs, they also grew up in a non-Jewish culture and non-Jewish society, yet they grew to be icons of the Jewish tradition. It is not a challenge or a trick to be Jewish when everyone around you practices the same culture and the same values as you do. If one lives in Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh, in the holy city of Jerusalem, surrounded by Jewish influences, they don't need a special bracha, a special blessing, that God should make them people with Jewish values and a Jewish identity. Yet, Yaakov knew that Jews weren't always going to live in Yerushalayim, and they weren't going to live in Brooklyn, and they weren't going to live even in a major metropolitan area. Yaakov Avinu knew that Jews would find themselves in places like Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And this is why Yaakov said, through you, through your blessing, the children of Israel will bless their children. Why? Because when the children of Israel find themselves in places spread out like Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and need to be intentional about connecting with their Judaism, need to be intentional about creating an identity that they can pass on to their children, Yaakov Avinu knew they needed the strength of Ephraim and Manasseh. And so Yaakov said, B'cho yivarach Yisrael, with you the children of Israel will bless their children. Lamar saying, Yisimcha Elohim ke'Ephraim and Manasseh. May God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh, who were able to retain their identity even though they lived in a culture that did not foster that identity. This message is essential for families that realize that their children may be the only Jewish child in their class. This message is essential for families that have children within whom they need to foster and strengthen their Jewish identity at home, because it doesn't exist in the general culture. This message is essential for the people of the 29 towns and cities of our congregation that come together here at Temple Israel to experience the bracha, the blessing of Ephraim and Manasseh. And as we enter this Shabbat of VaYechi, and he lived, it is my blessing that Yaakov, Yosef, all of the patriarchs and the matriarchs should live on within your homes, within your hearts, within your minds, as they manifest themselves in your identity with the blessing of Yisimcha Elohim ke'Ephraim and ke'Menashe. Shabbat Shalom.